ideas flow, but never.
Today we talk about healing family patterns, trusting divine timing, letting go of resistance, living in synchronicity, and becoming your authentic self.
Rambling on, no straight lines. Welcome to my busy mind.
Hello and welcome to episode, what does I say? 31. Yes, episode 31 of Ramblings of a Busy Mind. My voice is still not working completely, so I'll try my best. And my guest today is actually from Australia, which is the first one from Australia. Like you're the furthest away so far. I have had people from Europe and from America, but I never had anybody from Australia. So welcome. So we have almost 12 hours time difference between us.
Yes.
And it's Linda Willow Roberts, and she is a spiritual teacher, an international speaker, a psychic, and an author, and as she claimed herself, a manifestation guru.
Yes.
So
thank you for having me all the way over there.
yes, all the way over here in Canada. In the middle of the night, it's 8:30 at the night, and you have 8:30 next morning, I think, something like that. 10.
It's quarter to 10 in the morning on Wednesday.
Yeah, so you're already ahead of me.
Yes.
Linda, tell us a little bit about you, what you do, like, because there's a lot of things that you have in there, and in your bio, you actually gave me more information on the things you do. So
yeah. So I've been on my spiritual pilgrimage or journey for 35 years, and I really didn't like my life. The first half of my life wasn't good, so I started doing modalities in my 20s, and I turned 60 in August. So for a long time. So I just kept doing modalities, trying to release and purge stuff and just change my life experiences for myself and my daughter. And so I started with Reiki. I'm a Reiki master. I follow Lillian Tu, who does feng shui. I've been following her since in my 20s. I'm a certified psychic medium. I did that with Lisa Williams. I'm a psychometry expert and angel intuitive certified with Doreen Virtue, back when Doreen was on our side of the fence. Did that here in Australia. I did Louise Hay courses. I did 2 back-to-back. They were 10-week courses because I wanted to fine-tune it. Like doing one really helped, so then I wanted to go back and do it again. I'm a Theta instructor and a Theta practitioner. It's all morphed into what it needs to be for me. I've created manifesting because things worked for me in my life. I wanted to teach other people how to do that. And so that was my drive behind the manifesting products that I've brought out.
it's interesting because most of us really come from a place where we lived the life where we had to go the extra mile, where we had to change and find new ways for us to exist.
Yes.
Overseas, basically. And I'm wondering what your background was in that, if you want to share. It's up to you.
Yeah. So I'm the youngest of 7. Mum and Dad were on a farm. Dad managed farms and Mum cooked for the shearers and all of those sorts of things. So got lots of hand-me-downs, had lots of thought processes around money and deserving and am I enough and all of those sorts of things. My relationships weren't so good. I've been married twice. My first relationship when my daughter was born, my first husband when I was in my 20s was very volatile. It wasn't a good relationship, and the experiences were just reoccurring. And my knowing and my slaps from the universe were getting bigger. And it was like, take notice. You either do something about it or they're going to get bigger and bigger.
So would you say your upbringing as the youngest had a part in how your relationships happened?
Absolutely. Mum and Dad, it's the family conditioning. Like being a Theta practitioner and instructor, this is where we go to when we're shifting beliefs. I can go into a Theta brainwave. That's what Theta is within a second. And we go straight to the creator, the universe, whatever, goes straight to the bottom belief. So if it's not a past life belief, it could be conditioning with your family and around you growing up, teachers, all sorts of things, all sorts of relationships.
How often do you find that in people that you work with when they're in overwhelm or burnout? How often is that also a matter of their base belief or what they've been brought up with?
Oh, it goes straight to that. The creator goes straight to that point, and it's often because it's things even that we don't know about. You know, we live in our subconscious 95% of the time, and our subconscious is there to protect us. And so something that had happened or a feeling or some trauma, you know, or just, you know, what you've heard just comes back in, and your subconscious goes straight up with the protection and the barriers, and we're going to protect you. So unless you release those blocks and those patterns and the reoccurring things, your subconscious is going to keep doing the same thing and try and protect you.
I find like my own life, it was not even something said in like maliciously, how do you say, like meaning bad to me.
Yes.
It was just something said, basically passing by, that then created blocks that were not to overcome until you started really chipping away on them and working with them, right?
Yeah. Well, it's
And
like the cliche onion layers, and that's what
yes,
happens.
yeah.
Yeah. And
But
how did you?
I also find that if you dive into the first layer, the inner core,
Yeah.
then the other ones fall away.
Oh, absolutely. And you can do it just like that in going into a theta brainwave. But sometimes you don't know where to start. I mean, if you
Mm.
think about me doing it 35 years ago, there was no spiritual teachers around. It was like, especially in Australia, and I was born in Tasmania. So that's at the bottom end of Australia on an island, and spiritual teachers, there was hardly any. And my family even had an intervention for me when I came out of the closet. Um, and it was so funny. It was like, you know, like when I was developing and I started to like myself, and I started to have better experiences. And they would have rathered me be the mess, and I drank a lot and partied a lot and had a good time. I was never promiscuous. And I said, you would rather that person than this person. I'm starting to really like myself, you know. But that's what you do, and it just when you start taking the layers off, you start filling that void because you're doing it for you, because you are the asset.
How much in your life or in from your past and from your patterns did you see in your daughter? Because you said you were doing work for your daughter too.
Yeah, because when we're doing removing blocks and patterns with theta, you actually healing 7 generations in the past and 7 generations in the
Mm.
front. And even when I was doing Louise Hay's stuff early on, I'd come home and I'd see a change in Holly, and she hadn't even known what I was doing. And even now, as I'm changing and I'm evolving, I think in the last 2 years, I've just done another 15 certified courses in theta. I'm always learning, always updating, because we're ever evolving. Her life's changing, and she's doing things that I never thought that she would do. And she's really starting to step into herself,
Mm.
and I absolutely love that.
And that's the wonderful part is when we as grown-ups, like I don't have kids, so I cannot see we as parents.
Yeah,
But when you start working on yourself, the whole dynamics in the group changes. So it doesn't matter if it's work group or if it's family group. And it will also shift how you interact with people, which will then change them, right?
absolutely. Yeah. And people fall away. It's like when you're on the road and you're living in synchronicity and you're working and you're building, create a spirit universe, wherever your thoughts go up to is who I'm talking about. When you develop that strong connection and you start living deliberately and start really stepping into healing yourself, people fall away automatically because you're changing your vibrational frequency. And so then you're drawing in. Remember, internally, whatever's happening internally shows up externally.
Mm-hmm. The resonance factor is a big part of that,
Mm.
because the vibration you throw out will come back either amplified, that's the resonance. So
Yeah.
you draw the people that you amplify and that amplify you. Or
Yes.
if you are in dissonance, they will fall apart because the energy doesn't work with each other, right?
Yeah. And you know, that's where people get stuck, because change is hard, but only if you resist. You know, when you let it happen, it just happens naturally. But when you get involved in the story and your resistance comes in, that's when you start, yeah, it's hard. It's hard. But yeah, if you can go with the flow and just, you know, let it all fall away and come in how it's supposed to organically, you're much better off.
What would you recommend somebody who has no idea, who has no clue? Like, we've been both working for years
Yes.
in you in Reiki, me in therapeutic touch. So we've learned the energy healing. We've learned to read the energy and go with what we perceive. But if somebody is totally new and doesn't know where to start or doesn't know manifestation, anything, what is the one thing that you would recommend for them to try?
That they already are intuitive and trust your gut feeling. You know, everybody on the planet has that gut feeling, whether it's business people, mums, you know, I mean, mums, you know, when your kids are quiet and they're doing something wrong. The business person, I actually had a conversation with a businessman on a plane flying back to Australia once, and he said, you know, what do you do? And we talked about it. And he said, oh, I don't really believe in that. And I said, that's okay. I said, but if you were doing a business deal and you had a gut feeling not to follow it, would you stop it? And he said, yes. And I said, that's your intuition.
Mm-hmm.
So trust, you're your own spiritual GPS. You're internally, you're it. Use it, because the more if you ask people about making a decision and what they think, they only come from their experience, their wisdom, what they know. So they're coming at that. Your intuition, your gut feeling will give you the answer. And it's always the first blurt. Like, it's not my thinking mind. So if I'm channeling or I'm talking and it's coming, spirit is coming through me, I don't remember it because it doesn't come through my thinking mind. So it's that first initial blurt when you ask a question or ask for a sign. And who doesn't ask for signs when they're confused? It's the first thing that comes. Trust that.
Yeah, that's what I do with my clients too, is like when whatever we use to solve whatever. I said the first thing that comes to mind. Don't think about it, just blurt it out. Because and so many people have such a hard time just to speak what comes to mind. Like, we are so conditioned to regulate and manipulate what we are putting out in this world.
Yes.
Instead of just blurping it out. And I mean, yes, you want to regulate if you're offensive or whatever. But if you're working energetically and if you're trying to get to the deeper core and work with your intuition, you cannot ignore that first thing, that first gut feeling, that first and everybody, that's the one thing what I find is we're not all used to know how we perceive energy.
Yes.
So I know mine is a word, or I have if I have my eyes closed, I have a visual. But it's words, so it would be auditory considered.
Yes.
But still it's a word in my mind.
It's a knowing.
It is a knowing, but it translates as an auditory cue.
Yes.
Or a visual cue.
Yeah.
And when people start learning how to read the energy and how to read the cues that come in and how they perceive it, how their brain translates it, because it translates for everybody differently.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden you have that aha moment in their eye where they go like, I get it. Right. And we've seen that teaching classes on raising bioenergetic awareness is one of my courses that I created with with my business partner, Michelle Greenwell.
Yeah.
And seeing people going from I cannot do energy, that was the comment, I cannot do, going to somebody offered red light and they had the taste of a red apple in their mouth.
Yeah.
And they associated with a red apple. right? It's not, oh, I tasted apple. No, it was, I tasted a red apple, or I saw a red scarf, or whatever. So that somebody offers the color red can be translated in all kinds of things, right? I had once a really neat auditory experience that my teacher in therapeutic touch sent me Mary Had a Little Lamb, and I saw somebody walking down a like 1700 street with the street lights and with the walking cane and the big skirt, and him with like the head. So basically I got into that period where Mary had a little, when it's displayed, it's usually that's walking stick and the big skirts and everything, right? But I didn't know she was singing that in her head.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's a cool thing when you can start with people, when people open up for the possibility that information doesn't just come in as a word from the outside, and that your brain is not always right. That's the other part.
Yeah, well, it comes with all your senses. So, and it comes in very varied forms. And like I said, back when I started, there was no spiritual teachers, but now people are aware that seeing triple numbers, seeing the signs, seeing, that once they start seeing them, you can't unsee them. That's you opening up to your path. And however, like I get pictures in my photos, signs wherever I've been. I stood on the bridge at Bath in England and had this vision, a Victorian vision, like with the dresses on and walking. And you can go back into past lives. You always have that resonance. Part of being a spiritual adventurer, which is what I've been. I've been in different cultures, different religions, and have that resonance with different places. And you just know that you've been there. You get God bumps, goosebumps when your soul knows and remembers, this is something that I remember. The goosebumps will come. There's all different. It doesn't have to be something that's huge and big, but it's just something that you start to resonate with. And when you start seeing it and noticing it, then more and bigger things and more open up to you. And for non-spiritual people, I created the Manifestation Flowchart course. It's an ascension course, and it starts at your core, and you build your energy as you move through the different modules. And what that actually does is you live deliberately. You actually start making the decision that I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this every day for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and you build on it. And it just brings together energy and manifestation techniques, and it makes you aware, and it strengthens your creator to the universe. It's beautiful watching people unfold into authentically them, and it's happening organically, and they start seeing all the signs and the synchronicities. It's really like being on a magic carpet ride, and you go from one sign and symbol to another. So I think that it's past us just choosing, like, this is me here, I'm the mum, and then this is me here, I'm the energy worker, spiritual teacher. It's our way of life. And when you start seeing those signs, your life just changes, and it's just magical.
I used to say I'm an atheist because I was not baptized and I didn't believe.
Yes.
I thought.
Yeah.
But I believe there's a higher good. I believe there's an energy that guides us and that can give us options that we can choose from. So it allows us to trust in ourselves and find our own way. And if you're tuned in and resonating, you will find the way that fits for you. That doesn't mean it's a straight way. That can be left and right and up and down, because sometimes we forget something on the left side or on the right side, and we have to sway over and see what is there. But for the most part, it becomes an easy way and an interesting way where you're not despairing about, I cannot move forward or whatever.
Yeah.
But it was so interesting to see that I went from, I'm a non-believer to, yes, I am a spiritual person. part of that was my background in school, having a religion teacher who really screwed up. Let's say it this way. She created such an energetic block for me that I couldn't even speak about spirituality, let alone like when I started my singing bowl training, I couldn't talk about what the singing bowls did. That they have the ability to entrain your brain, that they can help resolve by themselves, resolve some challenges that you have just by giving your brain, and I know that now, they give your brain the ability to stop and let go of whatever is there. So it can unravel. It's like the pause, the breath, the still point where you can then go in any direction that you need to go. But in the beginning, it was like, I feel so much like a charlatan because I'm talking about something that I myself I could experience, but I could not explain it because I had such a business brain. That's what I called it actually. That was like, it had to be this way and you had to be able to prove it. Nowadays, thankfully, with quantum physics, we have a lot of ways to prove that intention works. We have the ability to prove that energy healing works. At that time, I didn't have any of that. Like nowadays, it's known that as an energy healer, we are able to change the electromagnetic field in our hands, which then will influence the other person, coming from a physics point, right? But when we started, or when I started that's a long time ago, 30 years ago, something like 35. No, not that long, 25 years.
Yeah.
And it was kind of hard for me to go from that box person.
Yes.
All in there. It's all like I was so bad that I did quilts and I couldn't work with patterns because they would never align.
Yep.
Drove me crazy. So I could only work with like solid colors and geometric patterns. And then all of a sudden the world opened and it became everything. It doesn't matter if I color inside the line or not. I can be me, right?
Yeah. And that's, I was the same. When I started doing Reiki, in my 20s, I used to say to the teacher, when am I going to see something? When am I going to feel something? And then something major happened. And I rang her and she said, I thought you couldn't feel anything, Linda. So I was always, because I was analytical, I was like, quite analytical about things. And I didn't sort of understand at that stage at the very beginning. But wow, the kids today, because we've done the work for so long and shifted the Earth's vibration, the kids nowadays are getting it just straight up. They're eating clean, they're drinking water that doesn't have any fluoride in it, nothing's getting calcified. They're really open, and it's really cool to see like that they don't have to go through that. I had a couple of experiences where one very early on didn't want to be here, and I was not in a good place. And these arms, when I was howling in bed one night by myself, and these arms went round me, but they weren't arms. It was like the biggest thing, warmest thing that I've ever felt in my life. And I still blocked it and still thought, oh, well, that was just whatever, And then I did find a spiritual teacher probably about 5 years after that. And she sat there one day and said to me, that night that I put my arms around you and you were crying and actually said word for word what had happened. And I just sat there and it took me 40 minutes to drive home. I don't think I spoke for about 2 hours after it. She just gobsmacked me. And I sat back and I went, oh my God. And she said, you've got a lot to do in this life. And I'm like thinking, I'm 5'3" woman from Tasmania. What am I going to do, And then we go back into the imposter syndrome, don't we? We learn more and more and still doubt our connection. But I have 100% faith in the Creator. And I love going, Theta is is the thing that all put it all together for me. Going in Theta Healing, you have 7 planes of existence, and the 7th plane is the creator, unconditional love. And just to feel that and to work with that in a theta brainwave, we can fix, it doesn't come through me anymore. Nothing does. Every modality that I've ever had morphed into what it needs to be for me, as did yours for you. And I can go up in a second to the theta brainwave, and the creator will give me straight to the point, the block or the pattern. I'll say what the creator wants me to say, and then it's removed. It's amazing just watching it unfold, and people leave and they go, oh my God, I feel lighter in my body. I feel lighter, and colors look more vibrant, and yeah, it's just changed now how we look at things. And I think the biggest thing for me was getting over that it didn't need to come through me, that I didn't have to feel it.
I know.
It comes straight from the creator, clear, and that it's not about me. And I think that, once you get out of that ego, but that took me a while.
It's quite shocking when you get out of ego and realize it's not about you. It's just being there. And I was lucky with the singing bowls, because the singing bowls bring you right away, when you put them on, into that alpha to theta mode.
Yeah.
And that makes it easy to work with clients, because there's no inhibitions. There's no fear. There's no borders. There's just possibilities, and then you can work from there. But it took me a while to realize that myself, that when I started learning about the singing bowls, that was my first breakthrough with the burnout, because my brain could be just what it needed to be. I didn't have to be that person that functioned. I didn't have to be in the box. I didn't have to be something that I might not been, right?
Yeah.
I could just be me, and whatever was there obstructing me was just swept away and let go, instead of holding on to that box again, and that pattern that I thought that I needed to be. And it was so interesting, because when I did my first when I did my sound healing training, a sound therapist, one of my colleagues said, I cannot believe that you, as such a brain person, can do such amazing healings.
Yes.
And the part in that was that I was always the healer. I was always the carer as a kid.
Yeah.
And things happened, and it got shut down to keep me safe. Not that really bad things happened to me, but somehow my brain decided I was not allowed to be the healer. I was not allowed to color outside the lines. And that got worse and worse with time. And I said that before, but looking back at my life, the first signs of burnout, or that I would fall into burnout, came when I was 18. That's early.
Young. That's young.
And it happened that I was working at a company. I did an internship, and they got a new computer system at that time. So think back, that's quite a long time back.
Yeah.
I'm 54 now. And so they got the system set up, and we had to put the last half year, all the data into the system. And I basically ruined my neck for life in that time, because that's when I started clenching my teeth. That's when I started having migraines and everything.
And holding your breath.
All of that, because I was just there, like, I have to, like mania, like really like a mania to get that. And who would have paid, like, who really evaluated that? Who really was there saying, oh, it's great what you do. Thank you for ruining your health. No, nobody cared. Right. And especially I was not even a full-time employee. I was a hired intern. And that was the first sign. So as a carer, I tended to do 150% if I had it or not.
Yep. I can relate to that. So was I. Over caring or stayed too long. Yep. I can.
And not
Totally.
just for people, but for the company that
Yes.
didn't value you for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's like that was quite a like there were quite a few moments last year when I finally decided to go and become the burnout guide and help others
Yes.
not to fall where I fell.
Yeah.
Where I realized where my life went off kilter in some.
Yes.
Could I have prevented it? No, I couldn't because that was me. Like I was being me basically, and I had to fall. I wish I would have waken up earlier and realized earlier what was happening because life might have
Right.
been a little bit easier for 25 years.
But by going through the experiences that we've gone through has made us into who we are.
That's
So
the part.
Earth is a learning planet. This is
Yeah.
where we learn our lessons and our virtues. And for you and for me, everything that I teach, I've been through, tried it. If it didn't work, I tried something else. If it didn't work, I tried something else. And you're the same. Like you've brought your energy into this space of you've learnt how to come out of it, and now you want to teach other people and help other people. And it's really is beautiful, but it's your life purpose.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that the fun part was we did a long time ago a Haarline alignment, which is Barbara Brennan's work, the lifeline between heaven and earth and where your soul ID, like your soul purpose is on and your ID point is on. And
Yeah,
those are not aligned, you don't know, you never know what's your life's purpose. And you cannot
true.
fulfill it. And
No,
my partner, business partner, did it at that time. And I came out of that and I said to her, I'm a teacher. I'm not a
yeah,
healer. I'm a teacher. I'm an educator. I want people to get to the place where they can help themselves.
yes.
So
And
that's what we do now.
that's why I stopped doing readings years ago and started creating the manifesting stuff, was because I kept getting asked the same questions. When's the one coming? And I'm like, oh, like, I've been married twice, so I'm not a bloody relationship expert, but I know how to fill that void internally. And I knew by making I'm a Manifestor Magical Oracle cards, the Manifestation Flowchart course, the free 5-day manifesting reset, that I could teach people and empower them and let them live deliberately and show up for themselves so that they could attract in what they wanted. It was like, that's why I'm like the spiritual teacher. I mean, spiritual 101, first up, we teach people how to have an on and off button, to be open to spirit and to be off, to bring their energy back to them, to say after those draining conversations that they get, because they're all empathic, they're all intuitive, and they're all getting their energy sucked out of them, to at the end I'll think, I give back to you that is yours with love and light, and I take back from you that is mine with love and light. So the energy goes back to it. And it's just giving people the knowledge of just how to control their own energy and just feel the energy. So when I'm demonstrating on stage, I'll get them to feel each other's energy, and I'll get a bowl of water and I'll get them to put their hands in there and then take them out really slowly. Then I'll put my hands in because the residual energy is left in the water, and I can read them, and I read them on stage in front of people, and just to give them the knowledge that they're in control of their energy, that they have their power, that they can stand in their power, they can own what comes in and what goes out. That's just, I wish we had that 30 years ago, but it's taken us this long to get to there.
Well, basically we can adjust the energy that comes into what we need. We can block the energy. We can
Yes.
let it go by. It's up to us to make the decision and to trust in us. We had a really cool exercise, or we have a really, really nice exercise in therapeutic touch that we incorporated in therapeutic touch for families. And that's you take a cotton sock or a cotton swat, and you infuse that with a thought or the energy. And I know my teacher did that in one class. And what happened is that somebody infused the cotton with beer. and she got the sock, and all she could think of and taste of was the beer and the bubbles. And it's so neat when you see that, when you are in tune, when you are able to see and perceive. No, you're perceiving them anyway, but most times we cannot read them or translate them. But when you know how your brain translates the information, or your body translates the information, then all of a sudden you have so much of a bigger picture of life.
Yeah. Unlimited thoughts. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also the knowledge that this is a situation where I don't want to be in, so I'd step away instead of going headlong into something that's not serving me. Yeah.
True.
Or missing an opportunity because I was not sure if it would be mine or not. And then gut feeling says, yes, just go for it. And you go. Right? Life becomes so much fuller and colorful than it was before.
It's in the flow. I mean, we talk about spiritual flow, and people say, what is that? And that's just going with the natural order of things. We're here to learn, but we're here to recognize the lessons and virtues that we need to learn in this life. So however that shows up, the old adage of it has to be hard to learn is gone. That's gone with us 30 years ago, because the vibrational frequency of the earth and humanity's changed. We can learn things with ease, grace, and joy. It can be, it can just flow in, and we acknowledge it, and then we let it go. It can be so easy now, and it just needs for you to take and stop and take yourself out of the matrix and just connect in, once a day, just even for 5 minutes, and just sit and just let whatever happens. Don't expect anything. Don't expect to hear anything or feel anything. And when it does, it'll be a nice surprise. But just take the time to be there, once a day. When you show up once a day, every day, then so will the universe. They'll just get to know that that's when you're going to do it.
Yeah, I know that a lot of people, like I did too, struggle with the word like spirit or guides or whatever. So when you go into metaphysical, they will negate that. But if you work with the base instinct of sensation, senses, and awareness, intuition, that's physics. That's your base nature that's reacting to the vibrational information coming in from around you. That's quantum physics. And then makes it easier for some people to understand what's happening. Because again, as I said, I had struggles myself. If you were talking about you got to reach out to spirit, you got to reach out to God or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I had a block, so I couldn't go that way. But if you said reach out to the universe, speak it to the universe.
Yes.
Then it became easier. And to this day, I get messages sometimes for other people. And for me, it's a gut feeling. So I get a knowing, if you want to call it, or I got words in my head. And then I have to say them, because otherwise I get nauseated, and to the point that I feel like I'm puking.
They don't stop.
I learned the hard way not to ignore that. And I usually say, I don't know where it comes from, and I don't care what you do with it. I just have to speak it, and you take it or leave it. That's up to you.
That's why I did the on and off button years ago, because it'd go out and you'd be sitting there and you'd have a message for the waiter, somebody on the table next to you, and I thought, I just can't concentrate my daughter's diagnosed me as ADHD and dyslexia and a couple of other things, and I could never just concentrate on a conversation at lunch, because I've been getting all these messages. So I did the on and off button so that I actually cannot have that happen all the time. I did assisted in a theta training, not last week, the week before, and there was this beautiful lady that's been doing theta for 20 years, and I think she's a Maori, and she has so much experience and so knowledgeable. And she was doing a theta session with me, and she said, "What are you, an alien?" And she said, "Your mind's going flat out, and I see all these numbers, and you're a mathematician and what, and all these codes and things." And I thought, Yeah, no, they're all just all light codes and info symbols coming in. And but it's funny when somebody else taps into your energy and what they can feel and see. But we've got to go back to the integrity part too. You can only do that if you have permission from the person. So I always say to my students, like, make sure you can't read a third party. Make sure when you're out, if you haven't used your on and off button, to just say to the person, is it okay if I give you this message?
Mm.
But it can drain us. And that's why I created, the energy field of bringing my energy back to me so that I'm not up in everybody's
And
energy till I go,
I'm not reading the person. It's just
yeah,
an innate
yes.
knowing that comes through.
Mm.
So I'm not a reader, definitely not. And I don't see myself as a messenger. And it's very rarely, usually it's a person that's working on me
Yeah,
that I get a message for. And then I ask if I can share that.
yeah. So
But
they're in your energy. So you are a reader.
yeah, I don't know. I don't give it a label. I'm just me.
That's what I used to say. But look at the work that Joe Dispenza's been doing. I just absolutely love Joe Dispenza. I met him at Portland. I had my book launch for 7/8 of Me, A Tale of a Spiritual Adventurer in Portland. And I met him and got to sit and just in the audience and just be amazed by him. He does so much scientific work background to just escape the brain, just to see how meditation, what it does to the brain, even with people that have never meditated, young people, older people, and he just watches what happens to the neuron paths and how more are opened up when you meditate. And I absolutely love the scientific stuff behind that because it shows that it's real, it's tangible, and it's actually happening to people.
There are some really interesting people these days that do the work. Not Evelyn. Now I lost it. Tuning the human biofield. Eileen McCusick does sound work in the field and mapping the field.
Yeah.
And I don't always agree with people who do the research because research is always based on what you read out of it. So
Yeah.
and my understanding sometimes is different, but for the most part, just having their work and having the ability to tie into that and then working with it and then seeing if it works for me or not.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest things that I'm really, really glad about, that I don't just have to take whatever's been written and take it for given. Because again, language is a challenge in itself because we all speak different languages, even though we speak the same language.
Yes.
And then there's Christina Rossi, who is she comes from the alternative or complementary world and then did her doctorate, medical doctor, and she wrote a book about etiology, and she bridges the connection between complementary and alternative. So for instance, she found material that points into that the meridians are actually created within the first few hours of the body and create a blueprint for the body to be created. So things like that. And then there was Wong Hang, who in the 60s, a South Korean or North Korean, I think North Korean, or researcher who found and who proved that the meridians are actually ducts in our skin.
Yeah.
That people don't know. People always think, oh, that's those freaking energy lines on the body. No, they're actually ducts that you can put material, like photo material in, and then you can follow and you can see every single acupuncture point on the meridian.
Yes. Yeah. I love energy. I love frequency. It blows my mind still that the Earth's electromagnetic field is 7.83. That's its base hertz. Our bone structures in our bodies are 7.83. And when we're looking at theta, when we're looking at our skeletal system, our bones, that's our connection to the universe, the creator.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Earth's electromagnetic is the same as our bones. And that just blows my mind, just thinking how synchronous it all is and how it all is tied in and all connected. And whatever modality that we're doing or interested in or researching, there'll be a connection over cultures, over religion, over everything. Everything is connected. It just is
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. Same thing with the energy healing. You do Reiki, I do therapeutic touch. Different names, different approaches, a little bit different. Some of what we do is very similar. And what I find the most interesting part is after a while, each of us does their own thing. So we
Yeah.
start and it becomes our own thing. But sometimes it's again the language, as I would call it, of the modality. So when you call it therapeutic touch, it has the therapeutic touch language. That's easier to be understood for me or
Yes.
resonating with me, while the language of Reiki is yours. So it again comes down to energetic resonance, no
Yes.
matter what title it has. In the end, we do the same thing. We're modulating
Yeah.
energy,
Yeah.
creating flow.
Yes. See, I don't do theta. Reiki to me is something that I did years ago that came through my hands. Theta now is where I sit in that energy. And but there's other things that I've done that I've just gone or decided not to do and thought, oh, I'll do that, and then sat with it for a minute or meditated on it and thought, no, that's not for me. You still have to use your discernment of what's for you and what's not for you, and detach from other people's feelings about things and the mass consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
Like in theta, we actually, when we're doing a theta session, we remove people from the mass consciousness around different ideas that could block you.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got to have that discernment of what's for you and what's not for you. And if it sits right with you, then go for it. You'll know, because the doors will open, that everything will line up and you'll go, oh, that was easy, and you could be thinking about something and then all of a sudden it shows up on Facebook and you think, who's watching me? But it just happens that the people just show up, the teachers just show up, the students just show up, and that's because they're just listening and just going with the flow.
Yeah, and that what you just said is exactly that point. Like, read on people, read
Yeah.
the books, read whatever, listen to
Yeah.
people, and then take it and see what of what they say fits for you and what doesn't. And if it doesn't, see how you can
Yeah.
work it into the whole picture
Yeah.
and make it work for you, right? And things change too. That's the other thing. Our
Yes.
our energetic state changes, which will also change our perception
Yeah.
and the way how we interact and resonate with things.
We're ever evolving population, and that's what we're doing. And those that are, I don't know whether we're part of the 144,000 of light workers that helped us shift into the new timelines, but we're all working towards being who we truly are now more than ever, and just being that authentic self. That's the best thing that you could do for yourself.
I find lately, or let's say since 2020, a lot of people have become more sensitive to what's going on around them.
Yeah.
And their awareness or sensitivity has sharpened.
Yeah.
But often they don't know whom to talk to and where to go to. And that's part of Ramblings of a Busy Mind, is to show people, because that creates overwhelm, that creates an energetic block, which creates aggravation and so on. So part of what I want to do with Ramblings of a Busy Mind is actually help people to see there's more out there than we know.
Yeah.
And for me, it's not just it's cornered, like it's coined to burnout and overwhelm and stress, but all of that ties into overwhelm, burnout, and stress when we don't know where we're going, when we don't understand what's going on, and we have nobody to talk to or nobody who can somehow make sense for it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for my voice is giving up on me. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for that interesting and wide, like it went from stress and overwhelm into energy healing, which I love, because I never cut any rambles out of there. It's rambling,
Yeah.
so there is no cutting or reducting anything. And whoever is drawn to you and wants to find you will find you through
Yep.
the information that we're going to post on the bottom. And yeah, thank you so much for being here. And I hope you have a wonderful, beautiful day. For me, it's going to be back to bed now.
Thank you very much for getting up for me.
No, I didn't get up for you, but it's time for bed now, slowly.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Linda. And good luck with what you're doing. And we'll keep checking in and see what's going on. And I'm going to take a peek at your oracle cards, because even so I'm not a reader, but I love oracle cards to look at and have them as pictures.
You can go over to the website and just have a free shuffle of them. So it's free.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, go over and do that and just see what you get.
Yeah, because they're pointers, they give you insight, and you can use them to find more information for what your day is doing or whatever. The question is like however you post the question.
Yes, true.
So thank you so much and have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thoughts are racing, spinning fast. Ideas flow but never last. Waves of wonder, thoughts untamed. Nothing ever stays the same. Rambling on, no straight lines. Welcome to my busy mind. Ideas fade,